Hello. I'm going to do this in English. Apologies for my French speakers. I don't speak French. So the purpose, it's not working. Let's see if we can make this work. So we work with a number of e-commerce businesses, and this whole idea of looking at data and seeing change over time kind of was the point of this talk about the art of getting shit done. Because people talk about a lot of stuff, and not a lot of stuff, when we've worked with e-commerce companies, gets done as quickly as it could. So what we want to do is do a quick walkthrough of what we're seeing in the sector, and just give some examples of what we're changing. This is not working. There we go. So first things first, we saw an interesting trend around accountability, that marketeers are getting more and more accountability for budgets, more and more accountability with regard to spend, more and more accountability to ownership. But what's interesting that we've also seen on the back end of that is there's less measurement going on. And so we're getting more and more need to measure activities, measure budget, measure performance, yet you know, I find this particular one, these are like my best friends. So normally, like, people run out the room. Like, I normally give these people a really big hug, because they're the ones that understand whether A, they're going to pay me, but B, whether what we're doing is having a positive effect. And I found it was unbelievable that only 7% of the finance directors could measure ROI from marketing activity. So for us, the big question is, why is that happening? If you're being given more responsibility, yet you are unable to measure that activity, why is that? And the first thing we think it is because it's just more confusing than it's ever been. There's more channels, there's more devices. How do you design for all these different devices and different channels? What am I going to do on Facebook and then Instagram? And then what am I going to do on Instagram stories? And how does that vary from my Instagram feed? And then I'm going to do promoted stuff. There's 25 different promotion methods within LinkedIn. What method, how am I going to measure those? What one's working, what one's not? So really for us, the big thing is about focus and trying to understand what to look at and what to do. The one thing, walking out the room, what's the one thing I'm going to do? So the first challenge we've had is around confusion. And the second one is around not having enough time, not having enough people, not having enough budget. And again, if you think, it goes hand in hand. There's more confusion, less understanding of knowing what to do, less resources. So everyone doing everything really badly is probably not as good as one person doing one thing really well and only focusing on that one thing. So being a data person, obviously the answer's in data, right? No, maybe. So Gary, I just did some charts, just like meaningless charts. So has anyone like sat in a room and doesn't necessarily have to be an analyst or someone that's just presented at you, and you've had like 5,000 charts, and you're reading, and you're on chart 5,001, and someone says, well, category 5 was the best. You're like, okay. And then they go, oh, green one won. The green one was really, really good this month. You're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then, oh yeah, category 5 wins again. Hooray, 32%, blah, 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 amazing. It's like honestly, what? WTF, what am I meant to do with all this? Like, what is the actual activity? I just want to know what I need to do. Like, as a marketeer, like, what is the thing I have to go and do? Like, it's nice knowing that 32% or someone has a propensity to go and do all this stuff. I actually couldn't give a shit. I just need to know what I actually have to do. So we think interpretation is so yes, of course, getting the data and using the data, but interpreting that and translating that is the key. So we look at it in 3 steps. The first thing is health check, or not. So the first thing is health check, which is all about understanding your data and understanding your audience and understanding your information. So imagine you've got all of this stuff and all this activity and all of these customers coming to your site. Like, a classic example that we see is around a quarter of traffic that we see with our clients isn't tagged. Right? So that people are like, it's no big deal. It's like, well, you're spending your budget, a quarter of your budget in the wrong place. So you either get the brand marketeers going, that campaign was amazing, But then you realize it was actually the email marketing team that did it, but because it's not tagged, they're not getting the credit. So there's small little things. It's not on the screen anymore. How do I get this back? Is he going to switch the screen? Anyway, I'll remember the slide, so it's fine. Right, next thing is to look at trends and performance. So overall, how is your business trending? Is it moving up? Is it moving down? Is it improving? Is it declining? Because once you have the data and the quality of the data there, improving that data over time is the next best thing to do. And then the last thing we look at is once you understand what's working and what's not working, is you look at the marketing actions, the stuff you need to change, the stuff you need to do. Hopefully we can show a picture. There we go. I'm going to do this. Is this going to work? No. So how do you actually do that activity? So we like to call it comparing apples with apples. So we try not to compare organic search with social and compare social with email and compare email with Instagram and Instagram with display advertising. What we try to do is we try to look at everything like for like, so comparing apples with apples. So what we do is we look at where traffic's coming from, so understand who that audience is, where have they come from? Have they come from a supplier? Have they come from a referral? Have they come from an affiliate? Have they come from email? Then we look at what device they're on, because again, that changes radically how you treat that audience. So quick example, like my favorite example is Booking.com. I think they do a fantastic job. Sometimes it's a bit creepy, mind you, but they do a fantastic job of recognizing you and you as a returning visitor. Now think of all of the other million websites you've been to, and you've been on a mobile device, and you've been on a desktop device, and they show you the same shit. And it's the same shit, whatever time, however many times you've been, whether you've spent £1 million with them, whether you spent £1 with them, you get the same experience. And the last bit is, over time, how is that changing? So they're the three things that we always look at. And effectively, we get a horrendous chart. And horrendous chart looks something like this. So we get a quick picture of all of our traffic, and we are able to quickly see what's working and what's not. Now, this isn't telling us what to fix. This is just telling us roughly what's working and what's not. So, like, for example here, just for this particular brand, you can see that overall, up here, paid search in terms of, as a source of traffic has declined. So biggest source of revenue for them, it's declined. But actually, the weird thing is conversion is up. So they've had like a 20% improving conversion. Why has that happened? We'll look at that in a sec. You've got some other things like newsletters. Newsletter volumes increase, but conversion's down by a third. And the 7.5% conversion rate is pretty damn good. But the really big thing for us is trying to model simple things like cost per acquisition. So these dudes here, I'm not going to say who it is in case anyone asks, but these dudes here are running a campaign, and they've got a cost per acquisition of like north of £400 on an average order value of around 40 to 60. So like the simple answer there is like, what the hell? Like turn it off, do something about it, fix it. And then we do a second thing around brand engagement, just to understand where people are, where they follow, are they falling into the funnel, falling out the funnel, are they engaging, are they not engaging? So I think what's quite interesting on this particular one is, although social ads represent a very small amount of revenue, like, look at that completion rate. They've had a 4-fold improvement in conversion on social, so get more people into the funnel. Like a simple one here is, no, there's not a single person that has checked out on non-branded search. So it sounds like there's a conversion issue there. So the whole activity for us is around diagnosing where these issues lie. So we call it creating your snapshot. So it's to draw a line in the sand so that everyone from the marketing team, CMO, and the board down can understand what's happening and what's not. So, really simply, is revenue up? Is revenue down? And by how much? What are the contributing factors to that? Well, we try to narrow it down to spend, cost per acquisition, volume, conversion, and average order value. And by looking at those things, you can see for this particular brand, although revenue was up, the only thing that really saved them was spend per customer, RPU, revenue per user. Conversion was down, but revenue was up. And then what we do is we drill down into what the specific things are you need to do. Like simple stuff, but just looking at why was revenue up? Well, revenue was up because direct traffic on desktop was up. Did we do a brand campaign? What was that brand campaign? What was the activity that we do? Did we increase our ad spend? Paid search brand on desktop was down 56%. So like to us, it's like, well, what did you do on paid search, branded paid search, specifically to reduce your traffic? Bearing in mind, if you look, when we went back a minute ago, that's conversion rate was up. So it's improving, yet your traffic's down. Like that to me is like throw someone out of a window kind of stuff. Like, is converting better and you've turned traffic off? Conversion, the best performing thing on conversion was paid search on brand. So it's like working, but you've turned the traffic off. So there's all of these activities to allow you to drill it down. But what we then do is we just look at all of those channels and those combinations to work out like what to focus on. So for us, we look at money. So in this particular example, the numbers are fictitious. So we can see that the brand has declined overall £57,500, but it was because paid search was down because someone literally turned a campaign off. Paid search shopping was because we had an 8-fold increase in bounce. Like either the shopping feed was wrong, you were dropping them to the wrong page, the images were wrong, the pricing was wrong, your ad quality, your ad score was wrong. Like there was loads of reasons behind that. And like, again, social was performing really well, but someone had switched off a social campaign. So this was our like quick wins, stuff to go and do. Like walk out the room and get this stuff done, fix it immediately. But then we need a 90-day plan because we're not going to fix this stuff overnight. So that stuff's the immediate things, and then we break it down into the 5 areas you're looking at. So we're trying to think more like a retailer than as a data person. We're using data, but it's like a retailer. So the first thing we look at is media, what media is working, what media is not working. We would identify cost per acquisition as a challenge, fix that cost per acquisition. We see certain things like drilling into paid social. We could see on this period of time that Mother's Day was a successful campaign, do more of that activity. We would see that newsletters are working. And you know, I think one of the things people miss out is what's the contribution of all of these channels? Because people might buy on paid search, but newsletters might be a great way of assisting that sale, you know, driving awareness. The question around device, you know, we were saying to this individual business, you need to fix landing pages. There's a problem with landing pages. There's one particular landing page. It's your best-selling product. The landing page is terrible. It's about 50, 60% fatter than it needs to be. Fix it immediately. And then the other interesting things, I'll show you the examples of the analysis in a minute on this, but like simple things like shipping, free shipping threshold. So we identified that with this particular brand, quite a high-value brand. On average, people spending, say, £50, £60. So on desktop and tablet, they were north of the free shipping threshold of £50. So most of the audience were getting free shipping. But on mobile, the average spend was £45. So we were just saying, guys, can you just do a trial and just run, like, the desktop and tablet people, on the whole, you're getting free shipping anyway. So reduce the free shipping threshold to £45 or £40 and see whether that drives incremental spend. And they were like, oh, margin, it's going to kill us. I was like, the cost is £2.50 per sale on certain customers. If we could shift conversion by 0.5% on mobile, we'll pay for that comfortably. Timing's an interesting one. So how do you buy your media versus how do your audience visit you and engage with you? So I've got some funny examples, one from an outdoor brand and one from a beauty brand. What product are you selling on mobile and desktop? Does that change? Again, a simple example there. And then what content are people engaging with? So we found that there's certain content that drives conversion. And are people with a drive towards more content and content creation, are people looking at which content's working to drive sales and not? So I'm going to go through these real quick. So this was a profile of one of the brands we work with who bought their media. So this is how they buy their media today. And we said, yeah, but let's look at that on mobile and desktop. So the first example was on desktop. So this was a beauty brand, a French beauty brand, and that sells online. And what it turned out was most of their customers, so red is bad and green is good. So green is a really, 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 really good time to sell stuff. So we were saying, looking at this, like we should be maxing Sunday out and literally dropping Monday, and anything in the evening's not working. So the client who ran this brand said, oh, that's because people have run out of makeup and they're basically shitting themselves ready for the Monday morning, that they're going to run out on Tuesday and look horrendous. I was like, well, I don't know your customers well enough, but if that's the reason why, we should spend a lot more money on a Sunday to drive incremental sale. A different brand here, this was a sports brand, a sports swimming brand. And again, they had these pockets of activity, and we noticed that there were swimming patterns that people were having on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday. So we actually found that like Wednesday at 1 p.m. was a really good opportunity to do like a huge spike in media, or send emails at a certain time, or run promotions at a certain time, or flash sales, because that audience was kind of out and about on their lunch break, having a plan on their phone, maybe late night on a Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So it was all about just trying to understand what the things were that we could tweak, because it's quite different from that picture there. Next thing was this shopping piece. So what we found here was the free shipping threshold was around £50. So what we wanted to do was we just said, look, the mobile people are under 50, everyone else is above 50. It's costing you nothing for anyone else. It will cost you marginally for the mobile people. Reduce your free shipping threshold and see what difference it makes for that audience. And vice versa for bundling, what we found was there was a certain audience that was working well for bundling. We looked at what people were buying on mobile and desktop and worked out that the thing that they needed for bundling on desktop was socks. Only to find out that they just discontinued socks as a brand, but socks were the kind of the gateway bundle product. This next one was interesting. We found that working with a furniture manufacturer that people were buying different products on mobile versus desktop. So we looked at that and we found that, politely put, people didn't really care about stuff when they were buying it on mobile if it was lower value, and people cared a lot when it was on desktop. So all the kids stuff, like kids books, kids cushions, kids furniture, it's like who gives a shit? It's not in my room, so I'm just going to buy it. And it was, very, very lower average order values. So what we said is, we need to re-merchandise the site, we need to do it quickly, we need to change the homepage. If they're on a mobile device, show them a completely different set of products than if they were on desktop, because desktop's all about the living room. So we want to show living room products on desktop. I mean, this is like pretty simple stuff, but like on a mobile, just change the site. So rather than the way we think about it is adaptive rather than responsive. So it's not about the screen size, but it's reacting to what the audience's needs and what the audience's behaviors are by device. This one was a content one. So do content people convert better? The short answer is, in this case, yes, a lot better. Do they spend more? Yeah, a lot more. And so what we ended up saying was, what is the things that they are engaging with? So we had like simple things like this self-build tips. Well, yeah, I'm sure you can keep that for customer service, but like I wouldn't invest any marketing money in it. Because we found that these two over the left-hand side and the middle on here, all of this stuff around the furniture hacks, all the stuff around information about shipping. There's a lot of stuff around shipping and questions around shipping, and decorating tips and decorating tools. They were the things that we found that people were interested in. So we ended up routing all the customers that we could see interested in those products with that content. Like, I know it sounds absolutely insane, but there are so many e-commerce sites that we've seen where you have a commerce experience, and over here, not linked in any way, a content experience. But, we all do product recommendations, but, why wouldn't we do content recommendations related to your product? Really, I mean, and I'm not saying that this needs to be a clever algorithm. You know that it's furniture, so on the furniture page, you say furniture hacks as a button. I mean, I'm keeping it simple because I'm not a UX person, but, simple things like that. So, 3 things. First thing is use your data. We find it as just an incredible source of information. Yes, of course, there's third-party data. Of course, there's industry data. But there is so much information out there that you can use. And use that to benchmark your business. The second thing is we found there isn't a silver bullet. So, unfortunately, it's about test and learn. So, yes, it is about testing different times a day, different days a week, different products to merchandise on mobile, different products to merchandise on desktop, different products to promote, different products to bundle, different products to give different device free shipping thresholds. But for us, it's all about test and learn. And then it's all about acting quickly. So once you know those things, how can you work with whoever the partner is or the technology platform to get those things into market super quick? Now, obviously, I'm a bit of a rogue, and I would just do anything I wanted, and I would implement everything, and it would look shit, and probably the website would break. But the reality of testing and learning and implementing it quickly and actually doing it, rather than planning it to perfection, is kind of one of my biggest things to do. Thank you very much.